Hunter Harrison was the furthest thing from a status quo guy that you could get. He hated the status quo. He hated people who said patience is a virtue. He didn't think patience was a virtue. He liked to win, and as he said, he was a bad loser and he had not mellowed with age. And that was all true. Think of two sides of a coin. One side of the coin was rough, tough, uncompromising, in your face, yelled, screamed. The other side was charming, generous, funny, great storyteller, and a mentor and a coach. And he read about all the great sports coaches. And he respected the Vince Lombardis, the Bear Bryants, the tough but respected coaches. And that's really what he was. He was a tough but respected coach. I think his potential became obvious when he became a so-called train master in the yard in Memphis. That's the person up in the so-called tower. It's like an air traffic control tower, only for a rail yard. And he had an uncanny ability to move boxcars. The rail yard is full of boxcars. Imagine it, coming from here, coming from there, coming from behind me. And red cars come in, green cars come in, and they all have to be broken up and reassembled and sent on their way. So the grain goes there, the coal goes there, the automobiles go there. And he knew how to play that high-level game of checkers with rail cars like nobody else could. Hunter Harrison was Chief Operating Officer at Illinois Central. He was the number 2, and they were doing a search for a new CEO. And they were kind of avoiding him. And he's like, "Don't you see me? Don't y'all see me? I'm in the office right next door. Don't y'all see me here? What's wrong with me?" Well, apparently in those days, Hunter Harrison was still a little bit shy publicly. He could express himself like nobody else, in the rail yard, wherever, but if you're going to be the CEO of a company, you are the face of the company. You are the message of the company. The message is you. And so he did not have that kind of public experience. And so they hesitated. They thought he was too rough around the edges. They got over it. They hired him. When Hunter Harrison came to CN in Montreal, there's a famous story. There was a gathering of the top 200 people in the company at the Bonaventure Hotel, which is just across the street from CN head office. And Harrison came in and spoke to them without notes for 8 hours straight. Nobody could leave the room to go to the bathroom. They were afraid to leave the room. This guy got up and preached. His father was not only a cop, but he was a lay preacher, and he taught Hunter how to preach. And Hunter Harrison could hold a room like nobody I've ever seen. And he did it in a way that was similar to Jobs. Jobs was uncompromising. Jobs was unrelenting. Jobs was in your face. Jobs didn't care about optics. All of those things, they were very similar, except in one respect that I could see. When Jobs had a daughter at a young age, he abandoned her. When Hunter Harrison had a daughter at a very young age, he manned up. That was a pretty big difference between Hunter Harrison and Steve Jobs, I think.